My name is Michael DeAloia. I'm the former tech czar for the city of Cleveland, and now I'm currently the senior executive for business development at Fit Technologies. I believe the theme today is what am I most passionate about, and I think through most of my travels in life I've learned one incontrovertible fact for me, and that I'm most passionate about action. And especially in Northeast Ohio, I tend to believe there's not enough of action going on. During my brief tenure at the city of Cleveland, I was really proud and pleased to be working with entrepreneurs in the technology and the biotech trades and the creative industries. And you talk about people who have a lot of passion for action, it would be that core group. And it's unfortunate in a lot of ways that they are underrepresented, easily dismissed, and not depended upon by the leaders, both civically and politically in our region. And so I guess my passion these days is to be that voice in the wilderness for the technology trades and the creative industries in Northeast Ohio. I try to follow my mantra on a daily basis. I'm clearly involved with Fit, which I'm proud to say that I'm a very small but nonetheless owner. I'm also an owner in 3 other tech companies, and all of us are firm believers in doing by action. And once you do enough action, then people begin to realize that there's something serious going on. Change is inevitable, and we're living in a region that is desperate for change. And if I'm part of that group that helps ferment that change and be a catalyst for change, that would be awesome. But we're all endowed with that ability to change things, and even when they're the darkest, and there's some dark hours in Cleveland, unfortunately, at the moment, with the housing crisis and the financial collapse, and now with development projects being postponed and canceled in downtown, you get the feeling that the city is lost and rudderless. And I've been blessed, again, having worked at the city. I've seen these points of light everywhere, these just grassroots activities that are starting to develop and pop out of the city of Cleveland. They're just extraordinary, and certainly eye-open as part of that wildfire that is brewing out there. And what do I want people to think? I want people to think positive thoughts. You need to be positive merchants, and there's too many negative vibe merchants out there thrown around just the worst scenarios possible. There's this thing called the Stockdale paradox, which is you have to be abundantly honest with yourself, with the difficulties at hand, with the knowledge that you can make these things better by action. Even though action may not be something you are able to do, but rather set the stage for others to take on that change. And I want people to feel vibrant and happy. Cleveland is unusual. I'm not from Cleveland, and I can say with a great deal of passion of my own that everything great in my life, both personally and professionally, has happened in Cleveland. And I don't think I'm a rare breed in that case. I think for people who have come into the city not knowing the great history or the great people of Cleveland, that this does in fact happen every day. There's success stories all around us. Fortunately, it's not like New York or Chicago where these success stories are propelled out to the front page, so to speak. But I'm positive, and I'm thankful, and we need to carry that positive vibe in a constructive manner, and that manner is change. We desperately need change in this region. And what do I want people to do? Get active. I live a Manhattan style life, and that is that every night I'm out, there's something great in Cleveland going on. There's issues that I'm discussing. There's places for me to visit. There's people and friends to connect with. And I guess build a community. If you're going to do anything, build that community. I'd like to see the elements of the technology trades sort of become the new titans of commerce in the city of Cleveland. I think technology and the creative trades need to be more active in the political spectrum. We're being overlooked and not necessarily thought of as the go-to people. And we should be, because we're making things happen globally. which I think would shock our politicians and civic leaders. So yeah, that would something I'd like to see in the future. Other things, man, I'd like to see more development. I'd like to see our educational system go year-round. You know, there's no break in the professional lifestyle. There should be no break in the educational lifestyle. And that goes from K through 12 to colleges and and post-grad. I would like to see the city of Cleveland have a year-round educational program. I'll give the state and the federal government their minimums, but when kids are graduating with those minimums, they're still ill-prepared for the demands and rigors of the world at large. And I think by having the children for 3 extra months and things that we want to teach them that are mission critical for Cleveland and this region would set the stage for just a revolution, a renaissance in the city. And I'm not talking about just, rap stars or rock stars or athletes. I'm talking about poets and philosophers and doctors and engineers. Things that children aspire to, but I don't necessarily think that they get to as quickly as they might given the current education program that we have. I'd like to see the city expand. I think in a geographic area where we've got 58 municipalities fighting every day for turf and for groups, it's unnecessary and it's clearly held us back in the global economy. I'd like to see those kind of walls disappear. I'd like to see further economic development, and I'd like to help in that regard in any way that I can, but I'd like to see some new skyscrapers built. I'd like to see new housing being built. I think there should be a connection between Cleveland, Akron, Youngstown, and Pittsburgh through light rail or fast rail. You talk about a dynamic region. Imagine living in Pittsburgh and working in Cleveland, and you can get there in an hour. I mean, think about how that can help with prices in your other travel. Airports are then competing. It's an hour to Cleveland for a cheaper flight to go all across the globe. I think it'd be pretty provocative, and I think that would be something that would just create a boom for this region. And of course, I'm just full of other ideas, but given the time limitations that we had today, those are a few things I'd like to share.